Hello, my friends. Today, everything indicates that Russia is preparing for new large-scale attacks. Yesterday, reports emerged that a Russian MiG-31 landed in Belarus, and today the activity of Russian Shahed drones has slightly decreased, which should suggest that they are being stockpiled for a major strike. So we should expect new missile strikes soon, especially since the Ukrainian forces have been successfully hitting targets on Russian territory, which the Russians don't like at all. In the Feodosia area, the oil depot is still burning. Here are the current results from the Feodosia oil depot. It has been burning for 3 days. 9 tanks have been restored, which is 27.3%. 3 tanks, or 9.1%, have been damaged, while 21 tanks, or 63.6%, remain undamaged. So 36.4% of the oil depot has been destroyed in some way. Yesterday's strikes on a warehouse in the Bryansk region sent the Russians into another panic. Additionally, reports indicate that a Shahed storage base in the Krasnodar region was destroyed. Our defense forces have struck a Shahed storage base in the Krasnodar region. The General Staff reports that approximately 400 attack drones were stored there, and secondary explosions were also observed at the site. Now, let's take a look at the situation along the front line, starting with the Kursk direction. Here, the Russians continue shelling the Sumy region and have claimed to have captured 2 settlements in the Kursk region. While the Ukrainian side has yet to confirm this information, other cartographers are already showing minor Russian advances in this area. We'll wait for official statements, but so far, no reports have indicated any large-scale offensive operations being conducted here. In the Kharkiv direction, shelling continues, and the Russians are carried out offensive actions near the village of Staritsa. However, no new clashes have been reported in Vovchansk, and for the past day, the front line remains unchanged. In the Kupiansk direction, the Ukrainian armed forces successfully halted a Russian breakthrough and managed to improve the situation near Kupiansk itself. However, the Russians continue to press forward with offensive actions near Sinkivka, Petropavlivka, and Novoselydivka. They are pushing as hard as possible, attempting to reach the water barrier. Southward, they've made some progress and are close to their objective. Near Krukhlyakivka, only 1.5 kilometers remain to the water barrier, and their goal is to split the Ukrainian armed forces in the area. Meanwhile, heavy shelling continues along the entire front line, and the situation remains tense. In the Burova direction, the Russians are actively advancing as well. They've broken through in the fields near Vishneva and Lozova and are now storming these 2 settlements to push toward further defensive lines. However, a line of defense near Borova might slow down their progress. For now, they continue to advance in this direction. Further south, the Russians are gradually moving closer to the villages of Druzhilubivka and Rekivka, and they have fully captured the village of Makiyivka. Russian forces had already claimed control of the village a week ago, but now it seems to be confirmed. In the Kreminna direction, the Russians also managed to break through closer to the water barrier, gaining control of the village of Novosadove. They are now attempting to reach the road through the field, with the distance where the Ukrainian forces can still maneuver being only about 600 meters. However, this area is under heavy fire, and the situation has significantly worsened after the breakthrough. The battles for Torsk continue, and the Russians have advanced 4 kilometers and 200 meters into the Serebryanka forest, making a substantial breakthrough. Although there haven't been major Russian advances in the Serebryanka forest over the past few months, they have made periodic gains, and now they're getting closer to key settlements, which could severely impact the situation in this direction. In the Siversk area, the Russians have also made gains, partially capturing Verkhnyokamensky and advancing by at least 2 kilometers, with the rest of the village still in question. Assaults are underway on Spirne and Ivanodaryevka, which are in a very vulnerable position, almost surrounded by the Russians. Additionally, the Russians published a video from Bilohorivka where they raised their flag, suggesting that they may finally capture the village after 2 years and advance closer to Serebryansk. However, this information hasn't yet been confirmed by the Ukrainian side, so we are waiting for further updates. One Ukrainian soldier mentioned on his Telegram channel that there is nothing in Bilohorivka and the flag was actually raised in Grigorivka. Overall, events are still unfolding, but with the capture of Verkhnyokamensky, it seems that the front line is collapsing here as well. The only silver lining is that there is still a line of Ukrainian defense in front of Siversk, which could slow down the Russian advance. In the Chasiv Yar direction, the Russians are not reducing their activity either, launching direct attacks on the outskirts of Chasiv Yar, while also continuing their attempts to break through to the village of Stupachke and storm Bila Hora. Meanwhile, frontline areas and Kostantinivka are continuously shelled, making the situation extremely difficult. In the Toretsk direction, street fighting in Toretsk is ongoing and it seems nothing can be changed today. Pushing the Russians back hasn't been successful, and today Ukrainian forces are left to destroy the advancing Russian groups in an effort to at least delay them in Toretsk. Once Toretsk is captured, the Russians are expected to move towards Kostantinivka. Considering that the Russians have had almost no pauses over the past 4 months, it's likely they will immediately begin advancing on Konstantinivka. Additionally, assaults on Deliyevka continue with attempts to push forward in the Nelipivka and Sukhabalka areas. The shelling here remains at maximum intensity. In the Pokrovsk direction, the Russians continue to extend their front line, seemingly unafraid of a Ukrainian counterattack. They're making significant advances where they can. Currently, Russian forces are continuing their assaults on Myrolюбivka, Prominy, Sukhий Yar and Lysivka, with the situation remaining critical. A large number of military vehicles are being pulled in for future storming operations. The Russians are also trying to storm Selidove and are shelling the entire frontline area. While there have been no changes along the front line in the past day, the situation remains extremely challenging. Further south, the situation is equally dire. The Russians are breaking through in the areas of Tsukurene, Novoselydivka, Izmailivka, and Hernik, with attacks from Zoryane by Russian forces. Um, However, Ukrainian side has yet to confirm the capture of Zoryane by Russian forces, but bad news, however, is emerging from Novoselydivka. Fighting has begun for Novoselydivka Donetsk region. The Russians have managed to enter the settlement, and its loss threatens the defense of Kurakhivka and Hernik. It appears that the Russians entered the village quite quickly, which is troubling. Additionally, Russian forces are preparing for rainy weather. Ukrainian reports suggest a large buildup of equipment on the Pokrovsk direction. It's believed then that when bad weather renders FPV drones ineffective, Russian forces may attempt breakthroughs using heavy equipment. The most difficult times will come during the rains and fog when neither FPVs nor Mavic drones can operate effectively, says Bunyatov. He believes the Russians will use their large amount of equipment to break through our defenses and take new positions. He also highlights a shortage of infantry on the Ukrainian side. With so much equipment, the Russians could break through our lines and take new positions, but our shortage of infantry is a concern everywhere, Bunyatov notes. Previously, the portal Comments reported that Ukrainian General Igor Romanenko voiced Russia's plans to capture Pokrovsk. According to him, after occupying this city, the Russian army would be able to move towards Ukrainian regional centers. The general emphasizes that Putin aims to capture Zaporizhia, Kharkiv, and other large cities. So the news from this area is far from reassuring. In the Kurakhove direction, the Russians continue advancing near Gostre and Maximilianivka, attempting to break directly towards the city of Kurakhove. Fighting continues for Katerinivka and Antonivka, but no significant changes have been reported in the past day. In the Vuhledar direction, fighting is ongoing around Bogoyavlenka, and shelling continues along the front line. The Russians are also trying to advance through the fields from Vodene, but there have been no new gains reported in the past day. Near Velika Novosilka, activity remains low, despite earlier reports suggesting that Russian forces might begin assaults on the town. In the Zaporizhia direction, Russian forces continue their push toward Novodanilivka and are advancing in the area of Robotine, primarily across the fields. Additionally, they are shelling Malatokmachka and Lobkove. However, there have been no significant changes along the front line in the last 24 hours. In the Kherson direction, there has been an unexpected increase in Russian activity, likely in an attempt to prevent Ukrainian forces from redeploying reserves to the Pokrovsk direction. The goal seems to be to create enough activity to hold Ukrainian troops in place, as breaking through to the right bank with the forces available seems unrealistic. Attacks continue on the islands, along with shelling of Kherson using FPV drones, but the front line remains unchanged. Russian forces are also continuing missile strikes on Odessa's port infrastructure. 5 people have been killed and 9 injured as a result of last night's missile attack on the port infrastructure in Odessa. A civilian ship under the Panamanian flag, the container vessel Shui Spirit, was damaged during the attack. Meanwhile, Zelensky commented on the situation regarding the postponement of the Ramstein meeting.
Зустріч Рамштайну, яка була в графіку на цей тиждень, наразі перенесена. Причина цілком очевидно удари стихії по Америці, які потребують максимальної уваги президента Байдена до внутрішньої ситуації. Будь-який лідер в аналогічних обставинах залишився би в своїй країні, але саме лідерський формат Рамштайну є особливо вагомим, тому маємо розуміння, що найближчим часом може бути підготовлений новий графік. Власне, на Рамштайні найкраще скоординувати з усіма партнерами реалізацію конкретного змісту плану перемоги, передусім воєнних пунктів, які посилюють нас на фронті.
And that's all from me. So please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on all the latest news. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.